Right now, the world is holding its breath as the US and Iran are teetering on the brink of a much wider conflict. You've got peace talks on a knife's edge and a huge ceasefire deadline that's just hours away. Okay, let's get right into this incredibly tense situation.
And if you want to get a feel for the mood, look no further than this post from President Donald Trump. He's out here claiming a decisive victory, saying the enemy is confused and that the American blockade is absolutely destroying Iran. This is more than just confidence, right? It's a statement that really sets a confrontational, aggressive tone for everything else that's happening.
And right away, things get, really confusing. On one hand, the U.S. is saying about the Iranians, they're supposed to be there, we agreed to be there. That makes it sound like talks are a done deal. But then Iran's foreign ministry comes out and says they have no plans for the next round of negotiation. So, are they meeting or not? This is the kind of basic uncertainty we're dealing with as that clock is ticking down.
So this isn't just some minor miscommunication. No, this whole war of words, it's really at the heart of why the peace process is pretty much falling apart.
But even with Iran publicly saying no talks, the White House seems to be moving full steam ahead. Word is that a high-level U.S. delegation, and it's reportedly led by Vice President JD Vance, is on its way to Pakistan. This would be their second shot at direct negotiations. So, from the American side at least, it looks like there's a serious push to find some kind of diplomatic way out of this.
So why is it so hard to even get everyone in the same room? Well, the first round of talks already fizzled out without a deal, and it really pulled back the curtain on some massive, fundamental disagreements between the two sides.
And we're not talking about small details here. These are the big ones, the absolute deal breakers that brought the last discussion to a grinding halt. You've got Iran's nuclear enrichment activities, its support for allied militant groups in the region, their proxies, and then the huge issue of how shipping is managed through the Strait of Hormuz. These are the core problems of the entire conflict.
So while the diplomats are stuck on those points, things are heating up, literally, out on the high seas. All the tough talk is now being backed up by military action, and that's just pouring gasoline on the fire.
You can almost see the dominoes fall here. First, the U.S. seizes an Iranian cargo ship, saying it was trying to get around the naval blockade. Iran immediately fires back, calling it an act of piracy and a direct violation of the ceasefire. In response, Iran puts limits back on traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, and at the same time, the U.S. Navy confirms, yep, our blockade has already turned back 27 ships. It's a classic tit-for-tat cycle, and it's getting more dangerous.
So, from Tehran's perspective, this is a huge problem. Their foreign minister called these actions clear signs of bad faith. They're basically asking, how can we negotiate for peace when you're seizing our ships at the same time? It completely destroys any trust you would need for these talks to actually go anywhere.
Okay, so beyond all the political chess moves and the military posturing, it's so important to remember the real-world impact here. There's a very real and just tragic human cost to all of this. Just look at this number. According to Iran's own official legal medicine organization, 3,375. That's how many people have been killed in the country since this war started back on February 28th. It's just a stark, sobering number that brings this whole thing down to earth.
And when you dig into those numbers, the story gets even sadder. Yeah, the vast majority, over 2,800 were men. But that number also includes nearly 500 women and, just devastatingly, 383 children, kids 18 years old or younger.
And it's not just the fatalities. The same report showed that more than 26,000 people have been injured. That really gives you a sense of the sheer scale of the suffering that this conflict is causing for regular people all across Iran.
So all of this, it brings us to the most urgent part of this whole situation. Because while all this is happening, there is a deadline looming. There is a clock, and it is ticking down fast. Right now, there's a temporary 2-week ceasefire in place. But that's all it is, temporary. It's set to expire on Wednesday evening U.S. Eastern Time. That is the deadline that hangs over every single thing we have just talked about.
And President Trump has been incredibly blunt about the stakes. He's warned that if no deal is reached by that deadline, well, in his words, then lots of bombs start going off. It's hard to get more direct or more chilling than that.
So that's where we stand. You've got conflicting messages, stalled negotiations, military escalation, and a rising human toll, all barreling towards this one hard deadline, which leaves us with the ultimate question. With the ceasefire set to expire, will diplomacy win or will the bombing begin?